Okay, so now we will start today's webinars. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for spending time and join our webinar today. The webinar is about high efficiency and safe C&I PV solution for the Philippines from GoodWe and JinkoSolar. And I'm Lizzie Nguyen. I'm today's webinar's host, and join with us today are our speakers, Mr. Kindle, technical service manager of JinkoSolar in the APAC, and Ms. Spencer Chu, system application engineer of GoodWe. And before we start in our webinar, I would like to note a few things for our esteemed guests today. The first thing is, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box. Our panelists and speakers will answer them directly on the Q&A box, or we will answer it live for you right after our presentation. And the second thing is, after this webinar ended, we will run a lucky wheel to find the winners for our small gifts today, which is the Amazon gift cards. And the winners shall be informed via emails that you have registered for today's webinar. And let's not wait any longer. Let's start the webinar now with the presentation of Ms. Spencer. Hello, Ms. Spencer. Please start your presentation about GoodWe C&I solution.
Hello, everyone. Just give me a moment. I will share my screen. Hello, so I'm Spencer from Solar Academy. So today I'm going to share with you the GoodWe solution for a low-cost, high-efficiency C&I rooftop solution. So today we are going to introduce you through the 4 aspects. First, I will give a brief introduction of GoodWe, and then we will go through the C&I system solutions and some applications. And after that, I will introduce you some important features of the C&I inverters. And finally, we will look into how GoodWe ensures the reliability and safety. Okay, let's start from an overview of GoodWe. GoodWe, we are actually an innovator in the solar industry, and our vision is to driving the world's smart energy future. And our mission are determined to be the main driving force in the global energy transition. So we actually have already installed over 3 million units all over the world. And we have helped to save the carbon dioxide for over 5,000 million tons per year. And GoodWe, we are a global company, so we have subsidiaries, branches, service centers all over the world. So as you can see, we have the subsidiaries all over the 5 continents, and we have 2 R&D centers and 2 production facilities in China. So it ensures our product innovation and the capacity of our production. Here is some milestones of our company. So GoodWe was established in 2010, and we were listed on the Shanghai Stock Exchange in 2020, and we were licensed partners with GE. GoodWe also have a very good global rankings. So we are actually the top 1 global energy storage inverter supplier. And we have been the top rooftop supplier in many countries like China, India, Korea. Here is the history global installation, we have the global accumulated capacity of over 35 gigawatts. And so among them, 15 gigawatts for the residential part, 19 gigawatts for the commercials and the industrial, and another gigawatts for the energy storage part. GoodWe also cares much for our customer services. So we have a whole system solutions. We have both the pre-sale services and after-sale services. So for the pre-sale services, GoodWe Solar Academy offers a lot of trainings as well as the knowledge sharing about inverters and the system designs. And we also offers the technical support to the stakeholders across the globe. And after you have purchased the GoodWe products, we offers very professional after-sales services. We will give you professional trainings about the installation, commissioning, and we are also going to provide local technical support whenever and wherever you need it. Okay, next, let's look into our CNI system solutions and some applications. First, here we show a system layout of common commercial and industrial system solutions. So as we can see, the inverter will be connected to the PV modules from the DC side. And then from the AC side, it will be connected to the AC distribution box and then to the home loads or the industrial and the factory loads, and then be connected to the grid. And for the communication part, we can see because in the CNI projects, we will have multiple inverters. So we will have to use a communication box called SEC 1000. So it will be connected to the inverter through the RS485 cables. And so inside the SEC 1000, it has a like EasyLogger Pro, which is a data logger to connect all the inverter data. And then there is also a meter inside the communication box. So the EasyLogger Pro will be connected to the router to transmit data to GoodWe clouds, and then so that we can view the PV system data through the SAMS portal, which is called the Smart Energy Management System. It is a platform totally run by GoodWe ourselves. So in the platform, you can monitoring your PV system to see the daily generations, the annual generations, and also generate the report of your PV system. So you can get very the enough data you would like to get a better generation of your system. So in this system, the load consumption is the priority, and then the rest of the solar powers will be fed into the grid. And so for CNI, we have several products like the SMT, MT, HT series, and I will introduce them one by one. This is another system layout. Looks quite similar to the previous one, but it is specially designed for the low voltage grid, which is very common in South American and Philippines. So for the low voltage grid, we also offer low voltage products like the low voltage SMT, LV, MT, and low voltage HT. So this can all be used to directly connect it to the low voltage grid. Okay, here is a roadmap of our commercial and industrial product. As you can see, we have offers 3 main products for the CNI. So first is the SMT series, which is from 25 to 36 kilowatt with 3 MPPTs. So it is very commonly used in some small commercial projects. And we also have the MT series, which is from 50 to 80 kilowatt with 4 MPPTs. So with actually more MPPTs, we can have more flexible system designs. And we also have the HT series, which is from 73 to 136 kilowatt with up to 12 MPPTs. So all the commercial products have very good performance features, like we have a very good heat dissipation performance. So they can work at full loads operation at 50 degrees. And we also offers the DC oversizing for up to 150%. And the arc forge circuit interpreter is also available to be chosen. And the CNI products also supports the power line communication, which saves the cables for the RS485. Next, let's look at the some important parameters of the LV-SMT. So the only difference of the low voltage products is that it can be directly connected to the low voltage grid, which normally have the grid voltage at 208, 220, or 240 volts. And as we can see, the maximum input current per MPPT is 30, and we have 2 strings per tracker. So the maximum input current per string is 15 ampere. And we have 3 MPPTs. This is the LV-HT. So we have 73 volt kilowatt LV-HT. So as you can see, it still has 30 ampere MPPT current and 2 strings per tracker. So the maximum input current per string is still 15 ampere. But this HT series is more suitable for a larger project because it has higher power class and more numbers of MPPTs. We also have another HT products, which is specially designed for the larger CNIs. This is our HT 1500 volt series. So it offers solutions from of 225 kilowatt and 250 kilowatt. So this series is compatible with the high power modules like the 210 millimeter PV modules. And it has upgraded the power line communication to the 2nd generation. So it's more stable than the PLC 1.0. And it also has the SVG function available. Here is some main parameters of the utility scale HT, which is the 250K HT and the 250KN HT. As we can see, the main difference is that we have increased the maximum input voltage to 1500 volt. And as we can see, the K series, the maximum input current of the MPPT is the same as the other CNI products, which is 30 ampere. And so the maximum allowed input current per string is 15 ampere. While for the KN series, we have increased the maximum input current to 60 per MPPT, and it has 3 strings per tracker, which means the maximum input current per string is 20 ampere. So it can be compatible with the mainstream 210 millimeter PV modules. And for the HT 1500 volt series, the nominal output voltage is 800 volt. So it cannot be connected to the grid directly. Normally we'll use an MV station to connect to the inverter and then connect it to the high voltage grid. Well, now let's look at how GoodWe can be compatible with the large current or bifacial modules. As we all know that there's an evolution of PV module power and the short circuit current. So the 182 millimeter and 210 millimeter PV modules become the new trend. So it is followed by a larger short circuit current. As we can see, some main manufacturers like Trina Solar, Canadian Solar, Jinko, LONGi, they all offers a high power PV modules. So it comes with even larger short circuit current. So this trend actually brings challenges for the inverter manufacturers. But GoodWe, we have our solution. So first, let's look at how we are compatible with the 182 millimeter PV modules. So here we use an example of the GoodWe SMT and HT inverters. So as we can see, the maximum DC input is 15 ampere. So compared to the PV module manufacturers, Jinko, JA, and LONGi, we are far higher than the short circuit current of them. So we can say that we are actually fully compatible with them. But for the 210 millimeter PV modules, the short circuit current can be even larger. So for the normal CNI products like the SMT and HT series, the maximum DC input is only 15 ampere per string. So how should we solve it? We offers another solution, like use single string per MPPT. So for each MPPT, we only connect to the even string of them, so that we can the maximum input current can be increased to 30 ampere. So here we have an example. If the short circuit current is 18 ampere for the PV modules, and we only connect one string per MPPT, we can see that for every string we can connect 22 PV modules, and 12 strings are connected to the HT 120 kilowatt. And after some calculation, you can find that the DC oversizing is still 132%. So it still can work for most of the commercial cases. Well, we also have another series, which is the HT 1500 volt. For this series, we have the KN model. So it has an even larger string current of the 20 ampere per string. So therefore, we can perfectly match with the 210 millimeter modules. We are allowed to connect both strings for this module. Okay, now let's move on to some product features of GoodWe. To adapt to the multiple environments, we have designed many features. For example, we have designed more MPPTs. So we the inverters can be adapted to the multi-angle rooftops. We can adapt to different orientations, different tilt angles. And GoodWe inverters are also advanced in the high temperature environment. So here we can see an example of MT, which is the 50 kilowatt inverter. It can operate at full loads until 50 degree. And so this 50 Celsius degree is the ambient temperature, which is the environment temperature, not the temperature of the inverter itself. So it can be adapted to the most Southeast Asia areas. And our HT series also has a C5 protection level, so which can be used for many coastal areas. And the type 1 SPDs can also be chosen for the some of our modules like the HT series. So it can be used for some lightning prone areas. Okay, so here we show how GoodWe inverters can perform in the very high temperature environment. Here we take HT 100 kilowatt as an example. This is the temperature derating curve of it. So we can see we can keep full operation until 45 degrees. Because inside we have a very reasonable heat dissipation path, and in the bottom of the inverter, it is equipped with 6 powerful NMB fans, which is made in Japan. So it is very reliable and high quality fans. Okay, so GoodWe also cares about the safety protections. So we added the AFCI functions in our inverter. So this year, we also upgraded our AFCI function to the 3rd generation, which means the arc detection distance is actually longer than the 2nd generation. So now we can detect the arc fault even for the 200 meters. And our this function is also certified by the China General Certification. And we have applied AI technologies to continuously learn the arc characteristics and form a unique arc characteristic library to make our detection more accurate. So to improve the system generations, we also have developed the PID recovery functions. Because sometimes the PV modules, when working in a very humid environment, it will lose the electrons, and the performance of the PV modules will keep decreasing. But with the PID recovery function, we can actually recover the PID effect at night. So with this function, it will activate it at night to add a reverse voltage between the module's negative and the PE to repair this PID problem. And this year, we've also developed an anti-PID function, which is more advanced than the PID recovery function. So we can actually prevent the PID effect before it is happened. So in this, for this function, the main principle is that we will add a virtual voltage point to increase the voltage of the PV strings to keep it above 0 all the time, so that it can prevent the move the electrons moving. So it is actually a perfect solution for the newly built PV plants. However, in this system, we have to use AC voltage floating system, which means we cannot connect the neutral cables. Because once you connect the neutral cables, there is a real grounding point. So the virtual voltage point will lose its power. So in this system, normally we will need an isolation transformer or an MV station to prevent the safety issues. So GoodWe CNI products, like the HT series, we also support the wide branch connectors, so that we can save some DC cables. And however, if you use a wide branch connector, the string level monitoring on SAM's portal will be disabled because only one string is used for this solution. Okay, so now let's look at how GoodWe ensures the reliability and safety. Actually, before the shipment, we have done diverse testing and have a strict quality management procedures. For example, we have done many tests, like the vibration test and the Hall test, and some noise level test to ensure the inverter can work under different conditions. And in our factories, we have very strict controls about our production line. For example, we will have an aging test for each inverter. So the inverter will be working on an aging room with a 45 Celsius degree for at least 8 hours, so that they are very reliable in hot weather conditions. And we also have a self ATS test inside our factory, which is like a full body check for the GoodWe inverters, so that we can make sure they are 100% ready before shipment. Okay, so let's look at some case references of the Southeast Asia areas. So here is a project in Philippines. It is a 150 kilowatt project, uses our MT series inverters. This is another project in India where it's an airport, also use our MT series. And we've also cooperated with some famous companies like Siemens. This one also uses our MT series. And another project in Vietnam, it's a 5 megawatt project, use our HT series. We also have done the project in Thailand. And in Malaysia, we also have many projects. Well, thank you for listening, and please follow us on our channels on YouTube and Facebook. We also have a solar community website that you can communicate with any ideas or suggestions about the PV system designs and the solar industry ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vesper, for your presentation. And next up, I would like to invite Mr. Kindle to present Tiger, Neo, and Type TopCon, the next big thing after PERC from JinkoSolar. Hello, Mr. Kin.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your time today with us, JinkoSolar and GoodWe Solar. For my presentation, first I will take a few minutes to introduce about brief information about JinkoSolar, and then we will go to the technical session with the new technologies of the latest PV module generation from JinkoSolar. So about JinkoSolar, we are the #1 PV manufacturers at the moment. We deliver more than 100 gigawatt PV panel globally, and still the only one who can deliver such big volume to the global market. We took the 12% market share for the PV module, and at the moment, Jinko module capacity, the production capacity is up to 50 gigawatt. We have more than 12 production facility around the world, and at the moment, the main technology we are focusing is anti-toucan monocrystalline PV panels, and we also holding the world record in terms of the anti-toucan solar cell efficiency, and the highest one is 25.7%. In the PV industry, Jinko is the most innovative manufacturers who achieve many important and reputation awards like PV Magazine, UPD Research, or PVEL Top Performer. There are 9 factories, JinkoSolar in China mainland, and we also have 3 abroad factories in USA, Malaysia, and Vietnam. And at the moment, we took the #1 market share in most of the biggest solar market around the world, like United States, Germany, Netherlands, India. In Asia, we have Japan market, Vietnam, and also Australia, one of the biggest PV market around the world. There are a few photos from JinkoSolar factories in China, Sichuan, Yunnan, Jiangxi, Zhejiang, and Anhui province, and 3 factories outside of China in Malaysia, USA, and the newest one in Vietnam. So we are the vertical integrated manufacturers who can produce from solar wafer to solar cells and use the solar cell to assemble PV panels. Also, for the future, we are developing new product from solar cell like BIPV, building integrated photovoltaic. And the newest one is the energy storage system. We're also developing this to meet the market demand in terms of the energy storage. Some of the latest solar solution from JinkoSolar, including solar plus ESS, solar for building. Sometimes we call it building integrated photovoltaic. Solar plus pumping and communication station. Most of the solar pumping and communication station we provided are located in Africa, where they don't have the good power grid. And the latest product and solution from Jinko is energy storage. We will provide to market demand for the energy storage into 3 segments: residential storage system, commercial and industry storage system, and the biggest system for utility scale project like solar farm, wind farm, or hydropower plant. BIPV, there are some photos of the BIPV product, including the color facade for the building or the transmission tile roof for the household. And we expect that this kind of product will deliver to Southeast Asia customer in the next years, around 2023 or 2024. At the moment, its price is still quite high, so we have not yet planned to make marketing or something like that to introduce to customer. But actually, we're starting in development this kind of product a few years ago, and hope that they will deliver to the solar users as soon as possible. Okay, and Jinko was the first PV supplier to join the RE100, the organization including companies who commit to use 100% energy storage renewable energy for its production and its activities. So through our business and production activities, we always consider to protect the environment and develop develop the business as well as the social responsibilities. That's some brief point about JinkoSolar for your more understanding about us. And then the next, I will move to the key session of today's webinar, the anti-TopCon, big thing of the PUB. So anti-TopCon is the name of the newest technology and PV panel generation from outside. Jinko is the first big manufacturer to convert our production, the mass production, into anti-TopCon. After us, several other manufacturers, they will follow Jinko to develop anti-TopCon. So today we will see what make the anti-TopCon different from PUB old technologies and what is the technical features as well as the benefit it brings to the solar user. So the reason behind of the development of anti-TopCon is because of the limitation of the PUB technologies. So after I think about 5 year booming in solar industry, now PUB solar cells almost reach to the limitation of the cell efficiencies, and the highest efficiency of the P-type mono PUB cells at the moment is 24.45, and it's very hard to increase it, even though we threw money into the R&D. But actually, many manufacturers, they just increase the panel dimension to increase the panel wattage, panel output. So we don't want to just increase the dimension. We want to use higher efficiency and better reliability for product for solar project. So that's why we jump to anti-TopCon technologies. The anti-TopCon solar cells, at the moment, the cell efficiency already higher than the highest one of the PUB technologies. And in the futures, the limitation of the TopCon technologies may up to nearly 29%. So we have plenty of room to develop it in the futures. That's the reasons behind the development of anti. We want to use higher technologies to develop the next generations. Compared to other technology like AGT or IBC, as you may know that for the second generation of PV panels, we have several different technologies, not only TopCon, but also IBC or AGT or some others. AGT means the heterojunction, IBC means the integrated back contact, where TopCon stands for tunneling outside passivation contact. So there are several different technologies. So why we choose TopCon? Let's see the comparison table between TopCon and AGT. The other technologies, IBC is quite new for the China manufacturers, and the price is very high. So at the moment, I think very few manufacturers think about the IBC. So we just make the comparison between TopCon and AGT for your reference. For the performance, AGT is slightly better than TopCon. Yeah, it's actually slightly better than TopCon cells, and of course better than PUB cells. But for the reliability and the degradation, TopCon is the best solar cells, and is better than AGT as well as better than PUB. The most important point for the TopCon to make our decision to go with it, because the technical difficulties and the capacities. So based on the detail of the technologies, we can develop TopCon production line from PUB production line. So the cost of the TopCon and the capacity, mass production capacity of TopCon actually better than AGT. It will significantly reduce the cost of the product. So that's why we choose TopCon for the next generation. And not only Jinko, at the moment, I can share with you that JA, China, or other big manufacturer in the top 5 PV manufacturers, they also choosing TopCon with anti-solar cells for the next generation. We just go ahead. And we faster than them about 4 or 6 months in development. So related to the the upgrade from PERC to TOPCon technologies. Let's see this slide to understand the difference between two types of the solar cell technologies: passivation emitter contact and tunneling outside passivation contact. So almost the same idea, right? We use the same anti-reflection coating, some other passivation film and passivation layer to improve the cell performance. But the key difference between two technologies is the ultra-thin tunnel outside layer, the red one. This ultra-thin tunnel layer will play an important role to reduce the resistance loss of the electron during the photovoltaic effect, and also block the recombination of electrons. So under sunlight, we have the photovoltaic effect under the sunlight like this, right? The solar cells exposed to the sunlight, and electron will move out from solar cells to perform the DC currents. And when it moves through the tunneling layer, its energy level and speed and the energy level of electron will be improved, because this tunneling layer will perform. And you can imagine that just like an additional magnetic field next to the solar cells, like the highway speed for the high speed way for the electron move out of the solar cells, and it reduce the resistance loss during the photovoltaic effect, and solar cell escape faster, stronger to perform the higher DC current. And also another function is to block the recombination. So under the low light conditions, low irradiance condition, so sometimes the energy from sunlight is not strong enough for electron to escape from solar cells. So some electron will have tend to go back to solar cell like this, go back. But with the tunneling layer, it will block the electron, block the way to go back to solar cells. So we call it the block the recombinations, and thus improve the open circuit voltage of the solar cells under the low light condition or low irradiance environment. So it's the improvement bring from TOPCon technologies. And also we use another cells generation. Typical solar cells almost are p-type, including monocrystalline or polycrystalline, mono or poly. But they are p-type. The p-type solar cell structure is on my left hand. This one is the cell structures, just the very simple structures. Actually, it's more complicated, but I use this simple photo to easier explain the difference between p-type and n-type. So p-type solar cells built on the base layer of the p-type silicon. And in reverse structures, n-type solar cells is built on the base layer is the n-type silicon. So N stands for negative. Negative, that means negative charge of electricity, and P stands for positive. On p-type solar cells, we have this base layer, and on the front face of base layer, we have a thin layer. We call it's n-type layer. And the P layer made from silicon doped with boron. During the doping process, we use boron, and when we use boron for doping process, silicon atom from 4 electrons will become 3 electrons, and it's the positive charge, right? 3 electrons, this means positive charge. For the N layer, we use phosphorus for the doping process, and the phosphorus, it will make the negative charge, because the silicon atom from 4 electrons now become 5 electrons and become negative charge. So under the photovoltaic effect, the DC current can be understand that the flow of the electrons from the N layer to P layer like this, electrons. N-type solar cells actually just like the reverse structure of p-type solar cells. And the key difference between these two types come from the difference between P layer and N layer. The solar cells, the N-type solar cells actually has the better purity level, because when we make the doping process For p-type, we use boron, and boron will combine with the impurity oxygen inside the solar cells. So you know that after the Kondrasky process to produce the solar wafer, there are always remaining some portion of the oxygen inside the solar cells. And when we make the doping process, boron will combine with that remaining oxygen inside the cells to perform the boron oxygen complexes. The boron oxygen complexes will generate its own energy level and is suitable to capture the electrons during the photovoltaic effect. So when we buy the PV pallet and we open the pallets, in first hours of the pallet to expose to the sunlight, some electrons will be captured by boron oxygen complexes, and we lost those electrons forever, right? Permanently. And this loss costs about 1 to 1.5% loss on the maximum power of the solar cells. This for mono-PERC solar cells. For the poly-PERC solar cells, is even higher, is up to 2.5%. And for technical, this we call it LID defect or light-induced degradation. The light-induced degradation on poly actually higher than mono because of the purity levels. The higher purity, the lower LID loss. But this kind of loss will not happen on N-type, right? Because only boron make the combination with oxygen. For the N-type, we use phosphorus, and this kind of phosphorus will not make any LID defect. So for P-type, the LID loss is up to 1.5% at the moment, at the current situation. But for N-type, because we still have the thin P layer here on the surface of the N-type N-type base layer, so this thin P layer will also cause the LID loss, and the loss of this thin P layer is around 0.1 to 0.2%, 0.3%. Anyway, it's much lower than the LID loss on P-type solar cells. So those are the two key factors for our new technologies, N-type and TOPCon technologies. We use this new upgrade. We apply this new upgrade to our new product, Tiger Nail. And Tiger Nail series actually produced for the six type, sorry. The two small type is 54 half cells and 60 half cells. They are for the residential system. And because for residential purpose, we don't produce it bifacial, only monofacial version. The bigger version is the 72 half cells, and we aim is to use for CNI scale, commercial and industry, and in some case is also suitable for the utility scale. And compared to the most common, the most popularity product for the P-type at the moment, 72 half cell Tiger Nail, they have same dimension, 2.2 meter length and 1.1 meter width. However, if P-type is just maximum power of P-type just 550. For N-type, we can achieve 570 at the moment on the same dimension. So actually it's higher than P-type, about 20 watt peak. 20 watt peak higher than P-type on the same dimensions. And this high efficiencies of the panels is the most suitable for the project that have limited area, like rooftop project on the factory roof or industrial factory roof, or even the ground mounted with limited land area. The biggest version is 78 half cells. 78 half cells. We also have a bifacial double glass, and this biggest version mainly for the utility system like solar farm or floating project or a big ground mounted system. But for Philippine solar market, I think the most suitable product is 72 half cells. Yeah, because we all understand that Philippines is the country where facing many strong storm and typhoon every year, and with the average wind speed, I think it's the most most dangerous and extremely dangerous in global. So we should choose the panel with not too big dimensions, because too big dimension, that means get more impact, severe impact from wind speed. Okay, compared to other product in Jinko, in all Jinko product portfolio, you can see our on-type product. We use mainly 163 millimeter cell type and 182 millimeter cell type. But for N-type, even those is the same dimension, but the efficiency and the panel wattage much higher than the normal P-type. So with 72 half cells N-type tiger nail, the module efficiency is already up to 22%, more than 22%. Okay, that's it, my first introduction about the new technology and new product. Let me move to the next session about the product advantage. The product advantage of N-type, mainly I will make the comparison with P-type for your easier understanding. So the first product advantage is about the warranty. For N-type, we offer better warranty for the power and performance. The first year degradation is just 1%, compared to the first year degradation of P-type is 2%. On P-type is 2%. And also the linear degradation of the N-type product is 0.4% per year. Now we reduce to 0.4% per year. But for P-type, for normal P-type, it was 0.55% per year. So you can see the big improvement from manufacturers to provide a better warranty to solar users, right? And also we will increase the performance warranty from 25 years, now increase to 30 years. 30 years. And the remaining performance, the remaining power of the solar panel after 30 years, now up to 87.4% compared to 84.8% for the P-type, normal P-type. Yeah, this one is a big step for the product warranty of N-type. Okay, and the second upgrade and second product advantage is temperature coefficient. So if you have already downloaded our datasheet in website or received from our sales managers, you can see the temperature coefficient of N-type tiger nail product is the best temperature coefficient in the market at the moment. Of course, this I compare to the same P-type and N-type product. I don't compare to some premium product from AGT or other N-type, because other N-type I think also the same temperature coefficient is 0.3. And for the P-type, it was just 0.35% per Celsius degree. So to understand the impact of the temperature coefficient, let's see the comparison between two panels on the same temperatures and the same conditions. Let's see the power loss due to temperatures of each panels. You can see for P-type 600 watt peak. At the cell temperature at the site is 65, same at the N-type 600 watt peak panels, and also same temperatures. So indicate the power loss. The P loss formula will be like this. The P loss according to temperature coefficient is 600 by 40 degree. This 40 degree is the difference, or we call delta T, from 65 to 25, right? Because 25 degree is the standard test condition. So compared to 25 degree, we have delta T is 40 by 0.35% for P-type. So indicates the power loss is 84 watt. And if we make it with the N-type, so multiple by 0.3%, the power loss indicate each is 72 watt. So the difference between two panels is 12 watt for every 600 panels. 600 panel, you make the difference of the 12 watt from the temperature coefficient, right? So in case you install 1000 peaks, the difference is up to 12 kilowatt. And this is actually a significant number to change the actual output of the solar side if you install the same DC capacity, but because of the temperature coefficient, you lost 12 kilowatt. And actually, because of the lower temperature coefficient, the real-time operating temperatures of N-type also much higher than P-type. And the P-type temperature is higher than N-type. So the cooler panel will lead to the better performance at the output. This is the product advantage. The third product advantage is the bifacial factors. So N-type solar cells bifacial factor is 80% compared to P-type just 70%. Bifacial factor is the proportion between the rear side power and the front side power of the bifacial panel. For example, P-type 400. In case of bifacial panel, the rear side maximum will be 280. But in case of the N-type, it will be 320, right? Because the bifacial factor is 0.8. So the higher nominal power of the rear side, the higher energy gain from rear side. Yeah. And also the reliabilities of N-type, according to our IEC test, also better. The degradation always lower than P-type on the same testing condition. So that's why we can apply 5 years longer for performance warranty. You can see on this graph, and if you contact us directly, we can share the testing results from third party for your reference. And the next product advantage is about the low light performance. So as I explained, the function of the tunneling oxide layer, it will perform higher voltage under the low light conditions. So low light condition happens in early morning or late afternoon. In this case, the N-type solar panel will generate higher voltage. First, the N-type solar panel string will generate higher voltage and activate the inverter earlier, right? And also the same situation happen in the late afternoon. It will keep inverter working longer time because keep the voltage of the string within the MPPT range of inverters. So working longer time will generate better generation. Okay, and the next product advantage for this Tiger nails and Topcon technologies is the bus bar system. Now we use 16 bus bar system instead of 10 bus bar system on P-type. So even the Jinko or other manufacturers, they just only have 10 bus bar or maximum 12 bus bar for P-type. But now we use 16 bus bar, and this is our new solar cells with 16 bus bar N-type and compared to the old P-type. So you can see the more bus bar, the less power loss, right? Just like in Manila, you have more road and the traffic jam will be reduced significantly. And also with the more bus bar system, the micro crack of the panels will be reduced because the micro crack will be limited by the gap between two bus bar. And with 16 bus bar system, the gap between two bus bar is just a half of the old system. Not a half, but actually just, I think just 70 or 75%. Okay, this is the content summary between two types for your easier comparisons, P-type monoPERC and N-type Topcon. So I will go one by one again for easier comparison between two types. The panel efficiency. If with the P-type monoPERC, the efficiency of panel around 21%. Now the N-type Topcon is around 22%. For example, on the same dimension panel, we have 545 P-type, but with N-type, Jinko can provide 565 up to 570. The light induced degradations we reduced from 1.5, 1.7 now just 0.5%. We committed 0.5, but actually the testing results show just 0.1 or 0.2%. The temperature coefficient, the most important difference, reduced from 0.35% now just 0.3% Celsius degree. And the bus bar design, we increased from 10 bus bar to 16 bus bar. So the next is the warranty term. The first year duration from 2% now down to 1%, and also linear degradation from 0.55 to 0.4, and the performance warranty from 25 years now 5 years longer. And the last, for bifacial factors, we increased from 70% to 80%. This mainly apply for the bifacial system in solar farm or utility system. So with that, the technical features, we improved the generation up to 3% higher than P-type. It mainly come from the temperature coefficient, lower LID, and in case of the solar farm using bifacial panel, it come from higher bifacial factors. Let's see some testing results to prove our number 3%. In Haining, China, we make the test from 2019, and N-type showed 2.9, 2.8% higher generation than P-type. Another rooftop system in Shandong province, the difference between two types up to 4.2%. You know that because on the rooftop, the temperature of the solar cells will be higher than ground mounted. And in high temperature environment, the temperature coefficient will with of N-type will reflect better performance. Another system in Haining, Iceland, where I have the cloudy weather, and you can see that for the whole day, the difference between two types is 4.5%, 4.56. But in early morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., the difference is 6%, and the difference up to 10% during the late afternoon from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So this reflects the low light performance of N-type compared to P-type. So under the cloudy weather, N-type will perform much better than P-type. Another 1.5 megawatt system in Australia is done by Blue Sun Corporation, our partner in Australia, and you can see the output of N-type is the green one, and the P-type is the gray one. So during the summertime in Australia, hot temperature month from August to November, the gap between two types is quite big, and also the energy use also higher than the months in winter time and the low temperature months, low temperatures. So in April, the gap between two types is quite small, right? But in August and September, the gap between two types is bigger, almost double the gap. So this one reflects the performance of N-type under the hot temperatures. Some other simulation results in Thailand also reflect our advantage. You can see, for example, 2.5 megawatt rooftop system. Compare between 545 watt peak panel P-type from JinkoSolar and N-type 565 from JinkoSolar also. So because we use higher watt peak panel, higher efficiency, so we can save 9 string compared to the P-type, 9 string lower. And also thus 9 string will save more than 400 square meter for the roof area. Not only the roof area and the mounting structure and cable cost, we also increase the inverter output. So you can see the first year generation of N-type on the same, this one makes simulation on the same scenario and the same inverter type, but the generation of N-type will higher than P-type, about 3.11%. Another system for P-type ground mounted with bifacial double glass panels, P-type 545. The produced energy for the first year is the 55 gigawatt hour, 55.2, but for N-type it was 57.2. Right? But it's equivalent to 3.7% higher than P-type. And if you put into the financial model, you can easily to realize the lower LCOE and better IRR. Better IRR for the project. And besides the effective for the project, the benefit, we also make the product certify all kind of string inverters, even though it's the GoodWe or RoWatt or many other kinds, they all certify with our inverters because the short circuit current is just 14 ampere. Why the string inverter now is up to 15 ampere. I will have another base here. So the new series of the panels featured around 14 ampere. Why the inverter now they upgrade to 15 ampere or 16 ampere for every string, right? For MPPT, they often arrange 2 string and the maximum current is up to 30 ampere or 32 ampere. So our panel actually can applicable for every type of inverter. And also is applicable with many on type of the mounting system, even though it is rooftop or fixed mounting system or 1P tracker or 2P tracker. Yeah. And compared to other kind of the panels in the market, like 210 cell type is absolutely better in terms of the BOS cost, because our higher efficiency as well as the smaller dimensions. So we can connect more power on the same trackers and more power on the same length of the fixed field mounting system. And also because of the smaller dimension, you know that the higher efficiency panels always go with the smaller dimension panels compared to other kind of the big and high wattage panel in the market. We are smaller, so we are adapt better in the strong wind speed environments. According to our internal testing results, the deformation and the micro crack of 182 millimeter cell type that we are using and for Tiger Nail series always better than 210 cell type for other products that bring maybe bigger wattage panel, but because each dimension is also bigger, so it's not strong enough against strong wind in Philippines and in other tropical countries. Okay, so these are just some other LCOE and IRR analysis to show up the advantage of our product. If you want to learn it in more detail, please contact JinkoSolar. In this webinar, we also have our sales manager in Philippines here, the local sales, Mr. Raymond, here at here. And any question, please rise up and let us know. We will provide all material needed, the plant file or other testing result, third testing assessment for your reference. And the last I want to say is now is the time for N-type, not only Jinko, but next after Jinko will be J8. They will also introduce to use and China and other manufacturers N-type. So all of the designer and the project for the futures, you need to focus on N-type to design your system. From Jinko side, we already convert over 16 gigawatt to N-type production. And the next year, we will completely convert about 22 to 25 gigawatt for N-type. So the capacity, production capacity absolutely can satisfy the market demand. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kim. Very detailed presentation and very great insight from your team. And next up, I would like to start the Q&A session for today's webinars. And for this session, I was hoping that actually our participant, all of our guests here can also join in the discussion and share their thoughts, and also maybe we can have a two-way discussion with the speakers here. So any of the attendees who would like to speak, please raise your hand. I will turn on your speaker for you and you can talk directly with our speakers today. And join with us today, not only we will have the representative, Mr. Kim and Mrs. Spencer from Jinko and GoodWe, we also will have their sales team in the logo. So if you have any question at all, please raise your hand. We would like to hear more from you. So I would like to start this Q&A session with a question that I believe many distributors and installers in the Philippines would love to know about, because as I know, the Philippines is actually asking for solar to be compatible with, first of all, is rapid shutdown, second of all is zero export. So we also received a question about rapid shutdown from Mr. Leo in the audience. So we would like to ask if JinkoSolar, do you have a rapid shutdown in your product features? Or GoodWe, do you have any solution for rapid shutdown and zero export? Maybe we can start with Mr. Kim first.
Yeah, for the rapid shutdown, actually is the just like the must for the Philippine rooftop system. So our product at the moment, I check with many rapid shutdown supplier, and our panel are compatible with all kind of rapid shutdown, like ProJoy, Benny, or AP Smart. Yeah, many kind. They all applicable with the rapid shutdown manufacturers. In the past, we already we have the smaller panels. We also make the cooperation with the AP Smart and integrated AP Smart rapid shutdown on our panels. But later, because the market demand show that they want to make they want to choose many other options for rapid shutdown. So we don't provide integrated panel with rapid shutdown anymore. But we commit that our PV panels all are compatible with the rapid shutdown item from rapid shutdown manufacturers.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kim. And how about you, Miss Spencer? Do you have any apps on rapid shutdown or zero export function?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we also have noticed the changes in the Southeast Asia, like the rapid shutdown. It is a must request in Philippines and in Thailand. And our inverter also can be compatible with most of the rapid shutdowns devices suppliers. For example, we have a cooperation with the Tyco, so we can be compatible with them. And for some products, like in American, we have an integrated transmitter integrated in our inverter, so it can be directly compatible. But for other products, you can use our external devices connected to the inverter, and then wireless communicate with the RSD. So you can still meet the requirements. Another question is about the zero export. We also have the solutions for the zero export. Like if there's only one inverters, we can use the smart meter GM3000 or the advanced meter like HK3000 with CTs, so that they can have the zero export. And the setting is also very straightforward. You can just use the SolarGo apps, or for multiple inverters, we have the smart communication box, which is the SEC1000. And then you can use the software called ProMate to do the configuration for the zero export. For more questions, you can ask our after sales team once you got our products, the inverters, the smart meters, or the smart communication boxes. Our local team will support you.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer and Mr. Kim, for your great answer. So just one more extra question on that side. Do the end user need to buy any extra devices to go with your products in order to achieve rapid shutdown or zero export functions? Hi, Miss Spencer.
Yes, for rapid shutdown, it's used the rapid shutdown optimizer or or we call the rapid shutdown devices. So definitely you need to purchase some third-party rapid shutdown devices. But for the zero export, the whole solution can be supported by GoodWe. So the smart meters, the smart communication boxes can be purchased from GoodWe.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we received quite some questions from the audience today. Okay, one anonymous attendee, they put forward a question about how can output power be accurately estimated for different condition than standard. Sorry, I don't understand for this question. You're asking for both Jinko and GoodWe or just one of them? Or maybe our speakers, if you want to answer this question, please go ahead. How do you think, Mr. Kim?
Yeah, how can output power be accurate calculation or estimated for different conditions than standard? Actually, this is the whole design questions. You will use your engineer to calculate. First is to calculate the system. Second is to design the system. Second is to make the simulation for the output power according to the details design. And you can see the different in the output power for different design. And inside the design and inside the simulation, you will put some input factors reflect the real condition at the solar side. For example, soiling loss, irradiance actually will be imported automatically by the software. We often use PV-SOL or PV-SID or helioscope to calculate it, and this will be reflected by the output of the simulation softwares. For the accurate estimated, I think only we can use the professional software to make it for our reference. For the other way to estimate it, it's very complicated and actually not easy to make just one answer for the whole situations. So different solar size, different design, different product and equipment will make the different output. It's for depend on many local factors and details input factors from your design. So can only use this detailed calculation for specific project.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kim. So our advice is for all the users out there is after you get a solar project, your engineer should contact directly to the brands, the solar panel brands, and also the inverters brand that you want to work with, and then together you guys can come up with a solution that's suitable the most for your own project, and maybe from then you can calculate the closest number that you want to know, the estimated from your solar, and that is the most correct answer for your specific projects. For now, we cannot answer. We cannot just give one answer for all your specific projects. So that's our advice for now. And moving on to another aspect that I saw a lot of attendees asking for today is related to the sales and after sales of Jinko and GoodWe in the Philippines. So hello, can do your sales in the local team also join today? Maybe they can answer some of the questions related to the sales and after sale first. Maybe you can let the audience know where the audience can buy, who they can contact. You have representative in the country, something like that.
Yeah, from JinkoSolar, we have our present ourselves sales representative in Philippines. We have at least at the moment 2 Filipinos. They are the local sales. Mr. Raymond, he also in joining in this webinar, but in the attendee list.
Yes. Maybe Mr. Raymond can raise his hand and I can turn on the microphone so he can speak.
Hello, Raymond. Are you here? Please raise up your hand.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Raymond.
So maybe he used my link. So another he used my link. This one, another.
Yes, yes. Mr. Raymond, you can just unmute your microphone and start to talk.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm
Hello.
Raymond. I'm the sales manager for the Philippines. So any and all inquiries about products and after sales, you can actually course through me. Yes.
Hi, Raymond. Yeah, I think after this webinar, we will send to all of the attendees our presentation as well as the detailed contact. So besides Raymond, we also have another sales manager in Philippines and the sales director for Philippine markets, Mr. Arun. He's located in Thailand, but at the moment he stay in Philippines for a long time. And our technical service take care of the pre-sale and after-sale service also in Vietnam. But I will have sometime maybe 2 or 3 times every month to Philippines to take care on the technical service. So easy to read to us. Let us know your email and we will send email to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all attendees. After this webinar, I will send you the presentation of today's speakers, the record videos of today's webinars, and also all speakers' contact details so you can contact them directly. And as for GoodWe representative in the Philippines, today we have with us Mr. Leo Yen. He will be the country manager of GoodWe in the Philippines and Vietnam. Hello, Mr. Leo. Some of the audience is asking how they can buy the products, and is there any representative in the country, how they can contact you? Can you help to answer the question?
Hey, hello. Hey, hello everyone. This is Leo from GoodWe. And yeah, currently we have no an office or how to say or team members there, but our group now is considering to setting up a local team there. And from now, if any inquiry about sales or products, you can how to say contact with us by email firstly, yeah, or by WhatsApp, and later Lizzie, please have to share our contact information to all the audience here. And another thing is for Philippine market now, we are also how to say connecting or try to find some local partners there, no matter for distribution ship or for solar farm or for CNI projects. Yes, okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Leo. So after this webinar, I will share with you all the related information. And if you have any question at all, please reply to my email, or you can contact directly any of the speakers today emails to solve your problem. And moving on to another aspect that is very important in the Philippines, which is the, how to say, the nature in the Philippines. As we all know, the Philippines have to suffer from the storm a lot throughout the years. So this is also one of the aspects that worry most of the installer and user to know whether or not their solar system gonna be safe, and how the panels and the inverters can cope with such extreme weather. So maybe this time we can start with GoodWe first. Hi Spencer, maybe you can help us to explain a little bit on how GoodWe can cope with the extreme weather in the Philippines, and what should the precaution act of the end user or installer they should do when installing solar system in the country. Hello, Spencer. Or maybe Mr. Kim can answer this question first.
Okay. Yeah, the most concerning technical problem for the Philippines solar system is the mechanical impact from the storm or typhoon or strong wind speed. Actually, the wind speed in Philippines may be up to 270 kilometers per hour. That's it. I think it's absolutely different compared to other countries. So the design of the solar system in Philippines, we should take more attention for the mounting system design and the PV panel mechanical abilities. So that's why in my presentation, I suggest Philippine customer to use maximum dimension panel for the Philippine system. From my point of view, it's at 72 half cells or around 2.2 meter length or 1.1 meter width. If you use the bigger panels, even those sometimes you use 600 or 650 or even 700, you can save some small amount of the cable cost, mounting cost at the beginning time. However, during its lifetime, last for 25 years, no one can ensure that it will survive under the strong typhoon or strong storm come to Philippines every years. So that's why we have to improve our mechanical design for the mounting structures. Secondly, need to choose the right product for the PV panels. For inverter, I don't think there are significant impact, but most of the most important of the Philippines for again the weather situation is to choose the right product of PV panels and to make the right design of the mounting structures. Yeah, and
Yes,
again,
thank you.
just choose the high efficiency panel. Don't choose the big dimension panels.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kim, for your answer. And Miss Spencer, you have any add-ins?
Yeah, actually our inverters are having a very good protection level. Like we have the IP66 for the HT series, and we also have the C5 level protection. So we can still have a stable performance under the extreme weather conditions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Miss Spencer. So as I can see here is another question we received from the audience before the webinar happened. One of the guests here, they asked why AFCI 3.0 is better than the others and how should I use it? I believe this question is for the inverters. GoodWe.
Yes, it is a very good question. So AFCI 3.0 we have extended the detection distance to 200 meters. So before it is only 80 meters, but in commercial and industrial projects, normally we have a very long DC cable. So the longer the better. So 200 meters helps a lot. And also we applied the new AI technology in the AFCI 0.0. So it will have a library to learn the previous arc fault. So it can make us detect the arc fault more accurate and faster. And So if you would like to use it, it is also quite straightforward. You can just turn on your SolarGo app, which is our configuration and commissioning tool for the inverter. And then you can go to the settings, and so that you can find there's an AFCI function, and you can just turn it on, so it can detect your arc fault. And please pay attention that this AFCI function is an optional choice. So if you like to have it, please tell your sales that you will need to add this function. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Spencer. So for this AFCI function, it's actually integrated into the inverter, so the user do not need an extra box, right? They only need to request their sales before purchasing the products that they need that function, and it will be added to the inverters. Okay, so the last question, I saw one of the attendee, Mr. Serwin, right? He raised his hand, so let's hear what Mr. Serwin would like to share with us today. Hello, Mr. Serwin.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my question is about the SEC 1000. It's about the zero export control, which is we mostly using the GoodWe inverters in our installations project. And we have a current project, 100 kilowatt system. And then I use 20 kilowatts GoodWe. And then my question is about the SEC 1000, because currently I'm looking for that zero export control, but there's some with my questions regarding with the SEC 1000, there's a specific grid voltage can use that zero export control.
Hi, thank you for your question. Actually, the SEC 1000 can work under different grid voltages. So, so the AC phase voltage is from 60 to 280 volt, and for the line voltage, it is from 100 to 480 volt. So it can be applied to the 380 volt or 400 volt grid conditions, or in Philippines, the low voltage grid. All of them can use the SEC 1000.
We understand that we have two vector connections of the transformer, which is delta and Y connections. There is a specific vector connections to use that zero export control.
Yes, so yeah, SEC 1000 both support both of these two connections, like the Y connection or the delta connection.
Okay,
both of them.
Okay.
Thank
you very much for that answer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Serwin, for your great question. So I think because the time is up, we can end the webinar today here. And I would like to emphasize one more time is after this webinar, we will send you all the documents, the videos, the presentation, and also all the contacts from both Jinko and GoodWe so for you to contact. We will include both technical and sales contact for you. So no worry, you can place your orders or any kind of question related to technical terms or products or sales. You can ask any of the contacts that we send to you. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We have a great time with you. And if you have further questions, you can send us email and we will answer you via the emails. Thank you for spending time joining us today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Mr. Kim. Thank you, all
Bye.
speakers.